Hi everyone, welcome to Season 2, Episode 3. Today you will hear from Kevin, a second year student who did a summer faculty led program in Rennes, France. Kevin and I will discuss what his program was like, trips he went on, and his experience overall. So let's get into this episode. So, welcome Kevin to the podcast. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're involved in on campus, and where you went abroad?
Yeah, so my major is clinical and translational sciences on the pre-med track. Currently, I'm involved in different organizations like MAPS, MERT, and French Toast. How could I forget about that one? And I went abroad in France.
Tell us a little bit about French Toast, your club, because
So,
you're president of it.
yeah, so French Toast is a club that I founded with a couple of friends. It just got recognized, I think, last month. So, in this club, we talk about things like the different cultures of the Francophone world. We discovered it, talk about like the colonization of how they became to be, the language, the culture, and especially the food, which is, probably why the name is called French Toast.
Mm-hmm.
We make French toast.
Yeah, I went to one of Kevin's meetings, and it was really, really great. So I recommend you guys go if you can. Yeah, you mentioned you went abroad in France. Can you tell me a little bit about why you chose that? And also, you did a faculty-led program. How did you learn about this program, and what led you to choosing it?
So when I was applying to the University of Rochester, I had on my mind that I wanted to go to France. I wanted to study abroad in France. And that was really contingent on me applying here completely, because I was like looking at study abroad programs as I was applying to different colleges. And I saw that Rochester had one, but I wanted to go as soon as possible. So they had a summer program, and I was like, yeah, I'd love to do that. And so I had pretty much already done all of my research before I even came. So like while I was in high school, my senior year, I was like, yeah, I think like this school has a really cool program. I think I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna do this. And then I didn't really know the difference between faculty led or anything like that until I came here. The course was actually so interesting. It was like, I think French 207, and we read a book. It was called La Douleur, and it was basically talking about like the tragedies of the Second World War in France, and basically the wait and how painful the wait was for the people who were staying at home while their loved ones were being, taken and in war and things like that, waiting for them to come back.
So when you were abroad, you got credit for like one class, two classes?
So I took one class, which is the French 207. It was worth 4 credits, and it was fulfilling of my cluster.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about what your class looked like. Like, how big was the class size? Was it all U of R people? And where exactly was the class?
My class in general, I think, was probably like 7 or 8 people, but in the entire program, it was 14. I'm pretty sure. So, and we took the class in this building. It was called the IFA, l'Institut Franco-Américain. It was this old building in Rennes, older, I guess. But we took it there. It was a nice older building. It was very pretty, and we took it like with the people from the IFA. The whole program was kind of made with my professor and them as well, so it was pretty cool.
Nice. And how did you, like, was your housing close to where the building was, or what did your commute look like?
So I had a host family, so like,
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
so I took the bus to school. So like I think it was probably like 20 minutes away.
Oh, nice.
If you wanted to walk, it would be shorter if you took the bus, obviously. But yeah, it was a good minute away. Like you could walk there. The neighborhood was very, very safe, very different from America. So
Did you enjoy taking public transportation? Because I feel like I loved it when I was abroad.
I actually love public transportation. Like in France, like in America, you'll never get me to take it. Like I live in Chicago, and I took the train, like one of the train lines, for the first time this year. I've for my whole life I've lived there. It was the first time I'm taking it, and it's because I don't take the public transportation ever. But in France, I took it all the time. I was like, oh, like, we want to go somewhere, let's take the bus, or like, let's get on the metro, or not the metro, but like, le metro.
Yeah. No, same for Barcelona. Like, I feel like they have a really good, like, train system, so you can literally get anywhere you want, along with, like, walking, because I feel like when you're abroad, like, you have so much time to yourself and to like do what you want. So like you might as well just go there, walk there, train there. So I definitely can relate to that. So tell us a little bit about what your class trips looked like. Like were you the one planning it? Was it sort of built into your program? And tell us a little bit about where you went.
So the class trips were built into the program. We went to places like Caen, Nantes. There's always one that I'm gonna miss, but if I remember, we'll come back to it. So yeah, we started in Paris, and then from there we went to Rennes, and then oh yes, and we also went to like the forest of Brocéliande. All these trips had something to do with what we were reading in class and stuff like that. So the con trips was for the reading of the books. We went to Nantes actually to see a capital, and I want to say, I'm always gonna forget this, but on the way to Brocéliande, we went to like different other sites as well. We went all over the place. I'm not even gonna lie, and some places like completely do forget.
Yeah, but that's so interesting though that like what you're reading in the book relates to where you go. Like that's such a good application of a class that I didn't even know that's what it was.
Yeah, like we went to Mont Saint Michel also, and I think before that we were reading like the legend of Mont Saint Michel and how that came to be.
I feel like that would make you enjoy the class more.
You would think so.
Yeah.
You would think so. Yes. Not gonna say that I didn't read the book. No, it was a nice trip. Obviously, Mont Saint Michel is not anything like the story anymore. Because and there's a bunch of tourists who had never read the story before either.
Yeah.
So it's a tourist place. But it's really pretty regardless, and the story does not really match up to what the kind of the history of it. It's just a folktale.
Did your faculty basically serve as like a tour guide when you were in these places?
No, not really. Honestly, when we went to those places and when we went to like the different cities, we stopped at different stops as well to see more things.
Okay.
So when we got there, my teacher was like, "We're here, get a guide, get an audio guide, and you basically figure it out yourself. You'll go by yourself because I'm not gonna walk you through it, obviously, because nobody wants to be like, oh, like, and here's this and here's that,
So she kind of like took you to the place, but then you kind of could do what you want and like go off.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So, and then we had to be back at a certain time, but it was all for kind of us to do it ourselves.
I think that's a good balance because you have like the support of like getting to the places and like just like technical support, but then also being able to like explore on your own, which I think is useful. This is like with 14 people, right?
Yes. Okay. Yes. And then I think my teacher, she also had a TA.
Oh, yes. A TA abroad?
A TA abroad that was from France.
Okay.
So while she was teaching my class, 207, the TA was teaching 157 is the other class name? Yeah, the intermediate, the La Grammaire Française. So yeah, it was cool, and I appreciated the fact that I didn't have to pay. So whenever we went on trips or whatever, my teacher would pay for the meals and things and sorts like that, and it was in the budget as well. And obviously, it was free transportation.
Yeah.
So we had a driver and everything.
Like you didn't have to worry about like getting from A to B. No. You just have to worry about bringing yourself.
Yes, get on the bus at a certain time, and that was that. But it was nice. It was fun.
Yeah, and just for context, Kevin went abroad the summer after his freshman year, so he went abroad pretty early, which is pretty unique in itself. So we talked a little bit about how you had a little scam story in France. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
So I think I mentioned that when we first arrived in France, we arrived in Paris. And I think we were in Paris for 5 days. So when I first got there, I was the first person to get there actually because my plane landed at like 9 a.m. So I had left like I think at like 5 p.m. from Chicago, and then got there and whatever. So I was the first person to get there. So obviously when I got there, I got to my room first and I did all of these things first. And so I was okay, I'm gonna go out. I had no idea my teacher, no idea. So I'm gonna go out. So I was walking down Boulevard. I put on a nice outfit and everything. Go check out my Instagram if you want to see it.
Gotta put the good fit on.
Go check out my Instagram if you want to see it. Yes, it's the third picture. So I was walking down Boulevard Saint-Germain and like, I don't know, I was just exploring. I went to go get a croissant, and then after I was walking, I don't know, I was just walking. And I was stopped by this one boy. He had to be like 14, 15, maybe even 13, somewhere around that age, whatever. And he said to me, he was like, I sleep on the floor. Basically, I'm homeless. Like I need food, basically. And he said all this stuff in French. And me getting off straight off a plane, you know, from America, you know, I'm like, what? So at first I was like, I don't understand. I was like, what? And so it was bad to the point where he was like, I dormir, this, like, and then pointing to the floor, like, I sleep floor. I was like, and then he was like pointing to his mouth, saying that he was hungry. And so I was like, and so then I was like, oh, okay. And then I said, like, I'll go get you some food, like, whatever. But I'll go to a creperie and get you, like, a crepe. But he was like, no. He's like, no, actually, like, I'll just take the money.
Yeah.
And so I gave him €5. And then he proceeded to tell me that wasn't enough. And so then I don't know why I gave him more. I think I gave him like 6 more euros.
I think it's just like the pressure of like
it was like the pressure. I was like in the moment, because truth be told, like at home I would have never done that. Never done that. Like never. Like if beggars can't be choosers. So if I've given you money, you take it and you say thank you. You know, you don't ask for more. Like that's not a thing. And so then I was like, okay, whatever, bye. He's like, thank you so much, whatever. And so then I kept walking down, you know, the same street. And I turned around, you know, basically just to check up on, like, what was happening, you know. And so he was smiling and then looking at somebody across the street.
Like, sort of being like, oh, yeah, like
basically, yeah. I was like, who is he smiling? I was like, oh. And at that moment, I was like, oh, I just got scammed.
You recognized it was, like, an organized sort of thing.
Yeah, I just got scammed. Like, I was like, but it's okay. Like, it was 11 years. Like, who cares? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I was just going to continue walking until all of a sudden I turn around and then I see, like, somebody, like, jogging towards, like, jogging that way. And so I'm, like, making room for them to go, right? And then, no, like, this man is, like, running towards me saying, like, can I have some money, basically? And so I'm, like...
Maybe it's, like, the street that you were on that this is, like, just, like, a thing where it happens.
Maybe. So I was on one of the most popular streets in Paris.
Like, the most touristy streets. Because I also have a little scam story. So I went to Paris, like, one of my last... Like, basically the last month I was abroad. I went to... If you go right in front of the Eiffel Tower... At least when I went, they have, like, these little groups where they're, like, playing games outside. So it's basically, like, cups, and they have, like, a ball underneath, and basically they just shuffle the ball, right? So when you're on the outside, it looks like someone that's not part of the group is there playing, and I think they do that to, like, attract people there. So... we, like, sat on the bench and basically just watched them. What they would do is that they would, like, play the game and act like the person on the outside won. Like, they won, like, €100 or whatever. And then they would, like, keep playing the game over and over. And then when someone that was not part of the group, like, just a random person walking by, they would just, like, start talking to them and being like, oh, you should play. Like, I just won $100. But, like, it was just, like, a scam. Like, you're not actually gonna win. It's just to, like... you know, get you to give them your money. But
I was talking to my mom, like, right after this entire thing happened. She was like, have you lost your mind?
Yeah.
She was like, you wouldn't dare do that. You wouldn't dare do that at home. Like, you wouldn't go to France and you've lost it. And I was like, yes, that's true. Like, I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah, so that was a good little story time.
Yeah.
Okay, so sort of moving on to the reflection aspect of the episode, I sort of want to ask, did you enjoy your experience abroad? Would you go again over the summer or perhaps a semester abroad? Sort of tell us a little bit about, like, what the reflection was like when you came back.
So, I absolutely loved abroad. I think towards the end of it, I was sick and I wanted to go home. Because, like, I don't like French food, okay? I don't like French food. I'm vegetarian and they're not very vegetarian friendly. When you go to different restaurants, they're like, oh, you're vegetarian. Mais pourquoi? And so I was like, I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to go home and eat food. Like, that's actually good. I actually loved France. I loved France. I loved my whole family. I love the experience. The program was actually very well put together. So props to my professor and everybody at the IFA for that. It was really nice, and I can see to say today France is like my second home. So I would 100% go back, and I would do another program. Obviously, you can't do the same one, but I would do another program. I don't know if I would do another French course in France. I think if I was to go back to France, it would be to, like, intern or something like that. But or like research. It wouldn't be like taking a class. But yeah, I would go back, and I don't know. Probably the next study abroad program I don't think would be France. just because I'm gonna go back to my major and what I'm doing. But I plan to go to France every year. I will. So next year, France will see me.
Yeah, and you're also like learning the language too, which like.
When I tell you, when I went there, from the whole thing of like me not understanding what the boy said to then coming out like being able to converse with my family in French. Like I think once I went to Rennes, I was like talking to my host mother in French, and she was like, "How long have you been learning?" I was like, "Oh, like for not even 2 years," and she was like, "Oh, your French is really good. Like you're able to have a conversation with me and." Like going from like literally barely understanding the host father and then especially the siblings to like then like
because they probably speak like they
speak
younger?
Very fast. Yeah. The brother was 22 years old.
Oh, okay.
And the sister was 19. So they speak very, very fast. Especially the brother. Oh, I couldn't understand him at all. They told me that I could come back. Like they were like, okay, so if I come back like with my bags, like do not forget what you said. Like you said that I could come back anytime. So,
yeah, like stay with them.
Like stay with you.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I was like, if I can
you
come
see, these are like the connections that you can like just develop abroad.
Yeah, and I still talk to my host sister to this day. I think I called her like maybe a week ago. And I still email my host mother. I love them. I love them. Yeah,
nice.
They're so sweet.
That makes me kind of wish that I did a host. I mean, because I did like an apartment, so I wasn't like with a host family, but like I definitely see like the added aspect of like being even more so immersed like in the culture because you're literally like with a family that's from there. Because I feel like I did meet people that were from Barcelona, but obviously I didn't live with them. Like there's just like an added little layer that's there when you live with someone.
Yeah, it was a nice back and forth. Like they taught me a lot about French culture and like not really French culture, but like in France, it's really like divided and like with the provinces and everything like that, or the used to be provinces. So like we stayed in the region called Bretagne in Brittany, and so like when they mentioned French and like it was very much like like it's a very Breton thing to to do this and then that, right? And talking about the specialties of France. It's not like America. You know how we say, this is American, whatever. No, it's like, no, this is a part of this region. France is just the name of the country, really. And then they asked me about a lot of what goes in America because, honestly, they said they had never they don't really know too much about America. I think the siblings, they had never been to America or anything like that. So, but it was so sweet because my host sister. I told her so much. I told the family so much about how I love Chipotle and how it was my nexus. And she tried to make Chipotle.
That's so nice. Literally.
And so, like, I think, like, she was like, "Can you guess what this is?" Like, she had, like, it was like the beans, the tomatoes, like the rice and everything. It was so
She's
sweet.
So sweet.
I was so happy. I was so happy. Though.
She's so nice for that, though.
Yeah, it was very nice.
Okay, can you give future students who are interested in maybe doing a faculty-led program or just wanting to go to France, can you give them a little bit of advice?
So, first I'll say, like, if you don't speak any French, start your Duolingo now.
Even, like, the buzzwords, possibly. Like, bathroom, can I order? Like, those are really helpful.
Yes, because I'll say, like, in Paris, they'll speak English, but they try not to. They try not to, especially if they know you don't speak French. They'll try not to speak English. But as far as like studying abroad, 100% go. Like I think France is such a beautiful country, and it's definitely worth seeing and studying there. You know, if that's what you want to do, I'd say write the essays. You know, start now. You know, get them checked over. Obviously, you can't get them checked over by the professor and that's in charge of it.
Because they do the selecting.
Yeah, they do the selecting. And they were like, "No, Kevin, I cannot read your paper," and then also select you. You know, so. Get it checked over by somebody if you don't think that you're good at writing.
The writing center is really good. If you go, they can like look over your writing.
So you can do that as well if you want. Be serious about like what you want to do and make your application stand out. What are you trying to learn from your experience, not just from the class, but your experience in France? Like what would you get from it?
I think it's really hard to regret an abroad experience.
Yeah.
Like to almost everybody that I've ever met and who's gone abroad and I've talked to, they don't really ever regret going. Like it just is such a wonderful experience to like make you grow and like allow yourself to be away from stuff that you're comfortable with and sort of like putting yourself outside of the box. So I definitely agree with everything. When I went to Barcelona, like I'm a native Spanish speaker, so that was helpful. But I could also see how like not knowing the language, like you can sort of get around if you like start getting like the buzzwords in, like learning a little bit, like that's all helpful because people don't speak English everywhere.
Yeah.
And you can't expect them to either as well.
It's a very big immersive experience, so you'll be forced to speak it regardless. Even if you're a tourist or not, I mean, but if you're talking to somebody random, you're gonna have to speak something. You're gonna have to at least say bonjour, you know?
Yeah. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and a big thanks to Kevin for being our guest today. I hope this episode helps you get a better understanding of what faculty-led programs are like at the U of R and a glimpse at the amazing experiences students can have abroad. See you in the next episode.
Hi, listeners. We'd like to remind you that the opinions expressed by our guests on this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Center for Education Abroad or the University of Rochester. Our podcast aims to foster dialogue, critical thinking, and exploration of various topics related to education abroad. We encourage listeners to consider multiple viewpoints, engage in respectful discourse, and form their own opinions. Thank you for tuning in and being part of our community.